Hello everyone, welcome to Irfan CFPS YouTube channel. Learn fire protection design by subscribing to my channel. In last session, I explained on how to calculate the number of class A fire extinguishers. In this session, I am going to explain you with an example on how to distribute the class A fire extinguishers as per NFPA 10 requirements. Before we start, again we shall go through the travel distance definition as per NFPA 10. Travel distance is nothing but the actual distance or the actual walking distance from a particular point to the nearest fire extinguishers fulfilling the hazard requirements. So this is the most important definition you need to remember, because travel distance is also one of the criteria in order to locate the fire extinguisher. As I told you last time, there is a table in NFPA 10 in order to calculate the number of fire extinguishers. For class A rated fire extinguishers, we can refer table 6.2.1.1, and in 6.2.1.1 I already explained in the last session that we need to calculate the number of fire extinguishers based on maximum floor area per extinguisher. Don't get confused. I will explain you regarding this in the next slide. I just want you to refresh regarding the example which I explained you last time based on this particular table. So basically I told you that, for example, you have a building floor area of 450 feet length and the width is like 150 feet. Then we need to calculate the total area of this particular building. So 450 feet by 150 feet, which will be equal to 67,500 square feet. So in order to calculate the number of extinguishers, I told you we need to consider this particular row from this table. So here, in order to calculate the number of extinguishers for light hazard or ordinary hazard or extra hazard occupancy, this needs to be considered. So now if you see here, our building area is 67,500. Now I am going to divide this by 11,250. Since for each hazard the limitation is 11,250, so I am going to divide this 67,500 with 11,250. So if your building comes under light hazard occupancy, then also you need to divide the area, total area of the building, with 11,250. Even if the building is ordinary also or extra also, as per this table we need to calculate in this way. However, I will explain you the other method. Based on that we will get the accurate results. So now basically 67,500 divided by 11,250, we are going to get approximately 6 number fire extinguisher. Even if the building is of light hazard, we will consider 6 numbers. Even if the building is of ordinary hazard, we will consider 6 numbers. Even the building is extra hazard, then also we will consider the 6 numbers. But how to know what rating we need to consider for these 6 numbers? Whether I need to consider 2A rated extinguisher 6 numbers or 4A or 6A, what kind of rating I need to consider, I will explain you in next slide. We will have a look at the other table as well, because this is also required in order to identify what kind of rating we need to consider for any extinguisher for class A type. So basically I already explained you about this particular table in the previous slide, and now I am going to explain you about this table, and then we will try to understand what kind of rating we need to consider. So basically, as I already told you, that for 450 by 150 feet building, our area was 67,500 square feet. So for this I divided with 11,000 250 square feet, because maximum floor area per extinguisher will be 11250 for any hazard. So I am going to get about 6 number extinguisher. Now coming back to this particular table explains us that 1A rating is not applicable in any of the hazards. Okay, so we are going to ignore this one. Now coming back to the 2A rated fire extinguisher, here it says 6000. Okay, what is the 6000? Is 6000 square feet. How? This is the maximum area in square feet to be protected per extinguisher. What does it mean? It means if you see this particular table, here it mentioned maximum floor area per unit of A is 3000 square feet for light hazard occupancy. So for 2A, for 3000 multiply by 2, because this 3000 is per unit of A. So in light hazard, 2A means 2 into 3000, which is nothing but 6000. So here in this particular table, they mention 6000 square feet for 2A extinguisher maximum area limitation. Here if you see for ordinary hazard, 1500 square feet per unit of A. So 1500 into 2, how much? 3000. So they have mentioned in this particular table 3000 square feet. Because 2A and 3A is not available in extra hazard, as per NFPA, minimum 4A is required for extra hazard occupancy. So for per unit of A, 1000 square feet. So for 4A, 4 into 1000, 4000 square feet. Here you can see dash dash, and here in this particular table they mentioned 4000 square feet. So if you consider in light hazard 6A, 6A means 6 into 3000, correct? 6 into 3000 will be 6 2s 12, 6 3s 18. So 6 3s are 18 is not there. So as per this table we need to consider, not as per the logic. So here if you are considering 6A extinguisher, 4A extinguisher, 10A extinguisher, 20A extinguisher, or what type of extinguisher you are considering, or whatever rated it is, these are the limitations. Even if the area is 11250 square feet, then you need to consider any of this particular extinguisher. However, as the rating increases, the cost of the extinguisher is also increases. So basically if you see here 3A rated, 3A means 3 into 3. So 3 3s are 9, 9000 square feet. For 3A, for ordinary, 3 into 1500 square feet. So 4500 square feet. In this way we need to identify or understand this particular table. Now coming back to the solution, here you can see I told you our building requires 6 numbers of extinguisher, even if it is light hazard, ordinary hazard or extra hazard. But if I need to consider 2A rating, then you can see here 6000 will be the maximum area in square feet. So if you divide, okay, before I move and discuss about this extinguisher, I just want to highlight you one more point which I missed in the previous slide. So if you see here, as I already told you that we need 6 numbers of extinguishers. Okay, since the limitation is 11250 and we divided the total area of the building divided by 11250. So what kind of rating we need to consider for this 6 number? If it is a light hazard building, then these 6 numbers will be either 4A rated extinguisher, because for light hazard 11250 comes under 4A rating, or 6A rating or 10A rating till 40A rating. So I will consider 4A rating 6 number extinguisher for light hazard occupancy. And for ordinary hazard occupancy, I am going to consider 6 number because the maximum floor area per extinguisher is 11250 only. But for ordinary hazard, I will not consider 4A rated, because if you see in this table, here ordinary hazard 11250 comes under 10A rated. So 10A rated fire extinguisher, I need to consider 6 numbers for ordinary hazard occupancy building. If you have extra hazard occupancy building, since we divided with 11250, so 6 number extinguisher will be 20A rated. So this is how you need to consider. So we can understand from this particular table which rating we need to consider for the extinguishers. So for light hazard, 4A rated, since the area is 11 to 50 maximum floor area. So 4A rated 6 numbers, for ordinary 10A rated, for extra 20A rated extinguisher. This is slightly complicated, but you need to listen carefully in order to understand about this. But there is second requirement from this particular table. Now we got 6 number extinguishers, but there is one more, and we also consider the rated or rating for the extinguisher, but there is one more criteria. Maximum travel distance to the extinguisher will be 75 feet, which is equivalent to 22 or 23 meters. So 75 feet for light, ordinary and extra hazard. So for example, if you see here, I am going to draw, or I am going to locate the number of fire extinguisher, total 6 number for any hazard for in this particular building. So I am going to install near the walls. Okay, this will be 450 feet and this will be 150 feet. Please listen carefully in order to understand properly the concept. So here this is the extinguisher. So total 6 number I have located on a particular floor, and now I am going to draw a radius or the circle with radius of 75 feet, because 23 almost it will be 75 feet. I am going to consider the radius and draw the circles. Okay, so if you see, I'm drawing here the circles or the coverage of this extinguisher. This will be 23 meter or 75 feet. Here if you see, this is, or this area is not covered even if you consider 6 extinguishers, correct? When you draw the circle with the radius considering 75 feet or 23 feet, you are not able to cover this particular portion. So in order to cover this particular portion, we need to rearrange the extinguishers. Even if you consider 6 extinguisher, or if you rearrange the extinguisher, even though the area will be not covered, some of the area will not be covered. So I will explain you how to increase the number of extinguishers and how to reduce the rating for the extinguishers in the next slide. So basically you need to fulfill two criteria. One criteria is, once you calculate the number of extinguishers, you need to identify the rating and distribute the extinguishers in that particular floor. But second thing, we need to cross verify the travel distance requirements as well, as per the table provided in NFPA 10. In these two, if travel distance is not met, then we need to reduce the rating and increase the number of extinguishers. How it is done, I will explain you next slide. Now you can look at this particular table. Now what I will do, I will again draw the building, but this time I am not going to calculate the way I calculated before. So basically here now I am going to increase the number of extinguishers. So our area is 67,500. Now I am not going to consider what we can say 4A rated fire extinguishers. I am going to consider 2A rated fire extinguisher for light hazard. So the maximum area limitation is 6,000 square feet for 2A rated extinguisher. Now I am going to divide the 67,500 divided by 6,000. So here if I divide 67,500 with 6,000, I am going to get 12 numbers of fire extinguishers. So I am going to consider for light hazard 12 extinguishers with class 2A rating. So for the same building, if the floor is ordinary hazard, then I am going to consider 67,500 divided by, here if you see in this table, I am going to consider the 2A rated fire extinguishers only, but with 3,000 square feet I will divide. So here if you see on your right hand side, 3000. Then I am going to get about 23 numbers of extinguishers. Same building, same floor. If the hazard is changed, then the number of extinguishers or the quantity is changed. If the fire rating or if the rating of the extinguisher is changed, then also the number of extinguishers will be changed. So for extra hazard occupancy, I am going to consider 4000. So 67,500 divided by 4000 will be equal to, because minimum range starts from 4000 in extra hazard, so 67,500 with 4000 if we divide, we are going to get 17 numbers. So I am going to consider 4A rated extinguishers, 17 number for extra hazard. Now we are going to distribute. Previously we considered 6 extinguishers. The travel distance requirements are not met, and for light hazard we consider like 4A rated with 6 numbers, it did not met. So now, for example, I consider this as light hazard and 12 numbers I will distribute at the strategic locations. For example, I am going to locate here. So total 6 numbers I am going to locate in this particular floor. Then I will draw the radius. You understand? So all areas will be covered if we consider 12 extinguishers. It means, so sorry, it will be like this, it will be covered like this, it will be covered like this. So full building area will be covered with 12 number of extinguishers. So if travel distance requirements are not met, then the logic is we need to reduce the rating of the extinguisher and increase the number of quantities for the extinguishers. Basically this is the concept in order to locate or size the fire extinguisher as per NFPA 10 requirements. If you have any clarification related to this, or if you have any confusion, you can easily approach me via comment section. You can put your comments. I will be able to respond to your comments. And if you are satisfied, then please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. Bye. In next class, we are going to locate or size the class B fire extinguishers. Till then, bye. Thank you, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Make sure to hit the subscription button below and click on the notification to get more updates.